Hello, welcome to another chapter of The Smiling Ghost. Today I'll be narrating 3 chapters. I hope you enjoy it. Like, share, and leave a like as it's very important for the channel. Tom always had this power over me. He wore a tight black shirt, his hair deliberately messy, confidence radiating from him like a ray of sunshine. I, on the other hand, felt out of place as always. "Relax," he murmured, leaning closer, his mouth close to my ear. "You're with me." And by God, that was enough. Colored lights flashed around us as the music changed to a sultry, sensual melody. I was about to suggest we leave, but then Tom took my hand again and pulled me to dance. "I don't dance." My voice came out harsher than I intended. "Now dance." Before I could protest, he was already moving, his arms around my neck, our bodies too close, his heat mingling with mine. My heart hammered in my chest. There was no more party, no more people, no more noise. There was only him. Tom smiled, that mischievous smile that always disarmed me. "Are you nervous?" "No," I lied. He laughed, and it was that laugh that made me realize I was completely lost in him. "I love you, Andy," he murmured against my skin like a secret. "And one day," he took my hand and wrapped it around his. "One day we'll get married." I felt something warm and tight in my chest. Tom was never afraid to say these things. I was. But for him, I wanted to believe it was possible. It was that night, under the flashing lights, to the sound of muffled music, that he took a purple ribbon and tied it around our wrists. "A promise," he said. "Forever. Forever." The memory vanished as quickly as it had come. I blinked a few times, feeling my heart hammer, my breath heavy. But when I looked ahead, it wasn't Tom standing there. It was Tomas. His face was slightly different. His eyes were filled with uncertainty. But the smile was the same. And in that instant, fear consumed me. Why was he here? Why did he look so much like him? Why the hell was my heart pounding like that? And why, deep down, couldn't I truly hate him? The noise of the classroom slowly returned. The sound of scraping chairs, young voices, sporadic laughter. My eyes were still fixed on Tomas. He turned to the student next to him, still with that damned smile on his face, kind, attentive, and ran his fingers absently through his hair, the same gesture Tom did when he wanted to appear confident. My entire body tensed. I felt something drop inside me, a weight in my stomach that made me nauseous. I grabbed a pen, opened one of the books, tried to write something, cling to what was concrete. But my hand was shaking. This damned resemblance. Tomas wasn't just like Tom physically. It was in the details, the gestures, the pauses before speaking, even the silences. It was as if life were mocking me, bringing the past back with a new skin just to test me. He had no idea what he was doing to me. He didn't know that, with each class, he was tearing me apart inside. And I retaliated the only way I knew how, by being cruel. It was easier to turn him into a mistake than to admit that my soul was breaking. But today was different. That laugh pierced me like an arrow. And for a moment, just a moment, I wanted to stay. I wanted to see how far that smile would go. I wanted to hear more. I wanted Tom back. But he wasn't coming back. Tom died. Purple ribbon rotted. And I'm alone. So I stood up abruptly from my chair without looking at Tomas. I grabbed my books and my pen and walked to the back of the room. "Professor, class is almost over," Tomas said, looking at me, trying to be helpful. His voice was low, careful, almost gentle. "You do it," I said without looking. "Since everyone seems to like you so much." I left that hanging and left the room before he could respond. Because if I stayed there a second longer, I wouldn't be responding as a teacher. I would be responding as the man who still bears on his wrist, invisible, the mark of a promise that was never broken, only interrupted. Chapter 12, Parking Lot Confrontation. Tomas's POV. The bell finally rang. The students ran out of the classroom as if freed, oblivious to the tension in the air. I stood there, alone, with the sound of the playground echoing in the distance and my heart pounding in my chest. I couldn't let this go on like this. Something inside me, maybe the little pride I had left, maybe just the exhaustion of feeling like an emotional punching bag, made me drop my backpack and head down the halls without a second thought. Andreas couldn't leave that school without hearing me. I walked quickly through the building, past groups of students, past teachers chatting, past laughter that seemed to be happening in a world parallel to mine. I reached the parking lot and saw him. Andreas was unlocking the car, a briefcase under his arm, his expression grim as always. The sun was already beginning to set behind the buildings, painting the sky with warm hues. An almost beautiful scene if my stomach weren't on fire. "Professor!" I called, my voice louder than I'd planned. He turned slowly. He looked at me. He said nothing. I walked over to him, stopping a few steps away. The fear of facing him was still there, of course. But there was something stronger, anger, and frustration, and an absurd desire to understand why that man insisted on destroying me a little more each day. "What's your problem with me?" I snapped. My voice sounded firm, even with my chest racing. "Since I arrived, you've been arrogant, curt, aggressive. You're always cutting me off, humiliating me in front of the students." He remained silent. No reaction. His face serious, cold. "Did I do something to you?" I continued, my voice a little shakier now. "Tell me. What did I do?" "I'm just trying to do my job." Silence. The wind passed between us, light, indifferent. He stared at me as if he were looking at a painting he couldn't decide whether to love or hate. And then, finally, he answered. His voice low, rigid. "You shouldn't be here." What did he mean by that? My brow furrowed. "What do you mean?" He looked away for a brief moment, as if saying more to himself than to me. "You remind me of someone I can't see again." My heart stopped for a second. I didn't know what to say. 'Cause in that moment, his gaze wasn't just anger. It was pain. A kind of pain that felt ancient and very poorly healed. But still, is that a reason to treat me like trash? I replied more quietly, my throat tightening. "I'm not the person you lost, and I don't deserve to be punished for it." He didn't answer, but something in his eyes wavered. For a moment, he didn't look like the impenetrable, cruel teacher I knew. He looked like a lost man, and that somehow hurt more than any scream. Chapter 13, The Truth. Tomas's POV. I was still trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. "You remind me of someone I can't see again." Those words hammered in my head like an overplayed song. Didn't make sense, not completely. And at the same time, it explained something I hadn't been able to name since my first day. His gaze. The weight of his presence. The anger that wasn't just mine. "Tomas," he called to me again. His voice was hoarse, restrained. "Get in the car." I took a step back. "What?" "No. This has gone too far." He took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a moment, and then, for the first time, he begged me. "Please. Just one conversation. I need to talk to you or this will kill me." I don't know what happened inside me, but something gave way. Maybe curiosity. Maybe the fear of what I would see if I simply left. I got in. Car smelled of old leather and subtle perfume. He drove in silence, his hands steady on the steering wheel, his eyes on the asphalt. The streets grew darker, emptier. We left the school neighborhood, and after about 20 minutes, he parked in front of a small, inconspicuous corner restaurant with a wooden facade and fogged-up windows. We went in. We ordered coffee and something light. He didn't touch his food. Neither did I. We were silent for a long time until he finally spoke. His name was Tom. My heart stopped for a moment. Andreas continued, staring at the cup in front of him as if it contained a liquid memory. I met him at university. He was impossible to ignore. He had this light in his eyes, this way of smiling that made you forget the world was gray. He ran a hand through his hair, clearly trying to control himself. He was my first love. My only one, actually. We were together for almost 3 years. We lived in secret sometimes, but it was real. He said he wanted to marry me, that he didn't see a future with anyone else. My fingers clenched the napkin in my lap. His voice was getting heavier and heavier. The night he died, we had a fight over something stupid. He drove off in a huff. I called him later, apologized. He said he was coming back to see me, but he never arrived. A truck hit the car. Andrea swallowed, looking away. And when you showed up with that face, that look, even your name, Tomas. But I'm not him, I murmured, mostly to myself. He looked into my eyes, and the pain there was almost unbearable to face. I know, but sometimes my heart can't understand it. We were silent. Only the sound of dishes in the background, and instrumental music playing softly in the nearly empty restaurant. I was stunned. But at the same time, something inside me began to click. Coldness. The anger. The 2 long stares. None of it was about me. It was about him. So all of this, the way you treat me, was because I'm like someone you lost. He nodded, almost embarrassed. And because I never got to say goodbye. And there, in the middle of that restaurant, with the music low and the world slowing down, for the first time I didn't see Andreas as the man who hated me. I saw someone who was trying to survive a pain that never healed. Thank you so much for watching these 3 chapters. See you in the next video. I'd love to hear what you think of this story. Let me know in the comments. Subscribe and like. Share with your friends. Thank you. Hugs and strawberries.